Hey everybody, what is up? Mike here with my new look layout for my videos. It is a work in progress. I am undergoing a little bit of new updating and refreshing. The original layout I had was just a temporary thing to just start the channel, and this two blues and the bluish gray is really the direction I want to go, so I'm just going to be working on that in the upcoming weeks. So this is going to be a little bit of a work in progress. But you can see off to the right, there's right now my logo, and that's actually going to be a display screen for any stats or pertinent information when I get that fully typed up and ready to go, starting with the next episode. Today's episode will not be utilizing that. Also have the creep along the bottom, giving some important information about local teams. As you can see right now, the Sabres are 3-1-0. This is being recorded on Saturday, October 23rd, just after their 4-1 loss to the Boston Bruins, which I didn't get to see, not because I forgot about the game, but because the fact the game is on ESPN Plus and I do not have ESPN Plus. I am not subscribed to it. So I'm going to be missing those games, which I'm not really happy about. I am happy that the NHL is going back to ESPN after a very many year absence. I do remember when they were on ESPN before previously, and I'm glad they're going back because ESPN is the top name in sports in the United States. But the bad thing is with ESPN Plus, if you don't have the streaming service or know somebody with it, you are going to be missing those games. Unfortunately, this will also be coming back to something I'm going to come to later in this show. But it's funny how 2 weeks ago I said that the Sabres were the Buffalo sports team that gives everybody that's a Buffalo sports fan ulcers, because they came out and they've started the season 3-1-0, with the first three games being wins and their first loss being a 4-1 loss against former goaltender Linus Ullmark and the Boston Bruins. But the first three games that they won, the Sabres have looked a lot better than they have in a long time. And I think that it's a few positive things. I think, one, they have somebody who's going to hold them accountable and run practices with discipline in head coach Don Granato. I think that there's no expectations on them, so they're just going out and playing. And I think that it's just they know how to play. They just need to crispen it up, bring it together as a team game, and not be beholden so much to a system that doesn't suit them. And I think Don Granato is going to do a lot for that in the remainder of the season. So it'd be interesting to see where they finish. I thought they were going to be about a 60-point team this year. I'm going to revise that a little bit and say that they're probably in the low to mid 70s. I think a lot of their games are going to be fun to watch, even if they're not winning, because I think it's going to be this. They're going to continue playing this up-tempo, get after it, go hard for 60 minutes, and be a hard team to play against style. I think it suits them, and I think they're going to, along the way, they're going to come together even more as a team. And I think the finishing, which doesn't, if you look just at the stats, it doesn't appear that they're having a problem scoring goals. But really, the Arizona game was very telling because I think they dominated that game, and Arizona really just benefited from the fact that the Sabres didn't have anybody putting it in the net. A 2-1 game in a shootout. And they basically went that far because Arizona got that far because the Sabres weren't putting it in the net, while we know what they did against Montreal and Vancouver, putting up 6 and 5 respectively. But I don't think that's going to be the norm for this season. I think this team is going to have games where they struggle. I think they're going to struggle against good established teams. And I think it's going to be a growing process, but I think it's going to be a positive growing process for the first time in many years. I think this team is not a playoff team this year. I don't think, like I said, I think they're going to be a 70-point team, 70 to 75-point team, which puts them way outside the playoffs. But I think it's going to be a building in the right direction where next year, if they get the right player or two, or maybe even a rejuvenated Jack Eichel who sees this team and is like, I can work with these guys. These guys look like they want to win. These guys are a positive team, and they look like they can be somebody that I can work with towards the goal of winning, I think that will bring them a long way in their chase for playoffs and the ultimate goal for every team, a Stanley Cup championship. But as of right now, they're not that good of a team. They are playing very well, but they're not the good team as in they're going to make the playoffs, they're going to make a deep run. They're young, they may be playing a little bit above their heads, and that's fine. Just don't panic, don't think that this team is better than they are. Just keep perspective that this is rebuild number, I don't know, 412 in the time that I've lived in Western New York. And I think for the first time, they're actually trying to do it in a direction that makes sense. I think I think if they keep Eichel, which there seems to be rumors that not trading him is an option, and he's looking at not being traded and not trading him as an option. I think that maybe realizes that he's going to realize that he's going to be one of a few core players. He is, even if he's the top paid guy, he's not going to have to be the guy. That he will be able to be one of the guys. And I think that'll be a much better role for him instead of being a young player carrying a team and being the only one they really can count on, even though they have guys like Skinner, Olofsson, Cousins. I mean, a lot of guys developing into their own, it looks like. So that's going to be a big positive, and I think that may help when his neck surgery issue is figured out. I think that may help him maybe look at Buffalo again as, yes, I want to play here again. But with that being said, they're still playing well. And I think if the Sabres do try to trade him, the fact that they're playing well without him might lower his trade value a little bit. Because it's been for years seen that he is the guy. And without him, without Jack in the lineup, they're not a good team at all. They've struggled to play. They've struggled to produce. I think now that they're able to, showing that they have the ability to play with them, and when Granato, after his 2 week, said he promised, hey, give me 2 weeks, I'll start turning this team around. After that 2 weeks, that team, even though they weren't winning all the time, they were looking a lot better, a lot more fun to watch, and starting to look like a team that could play without Eichel. They were looking like they were maybe an Eichel or a Star away from moving up the ranks and moving towards becoming a legitimate playoff team. So hopefully that keeps up under Don Granato, because he's been doing what I think is a great job this last, I think it's about 26 games or 30 games or something like that. So it hasn't been much, and his record isn't great, but the result on the ice is the team looks a lot better. They're a lot more fun to watch, and it's all around positive. Now, we've got the Bills, who are right now sitting at 4-2 after a really, really rough loss to the Tennessee Titans on Monday Night Football on October 18th. Really don't want to get too much into that game just because of the fact it was a really years-shortening, life-shortening event. And it's just, we'll probably end up covering it on the 716 Sports Podcast next time we record, which is scheduled to be on the 25th, October 25th, Monday, October 25th. It'll drop on the 26th. So we'll probably talk about it then, but I just want to say, don't worry, Bills fans. I still think this team is fine. I think that they just hit a hiccup. Every team is going to lose during the regular season, and Tennessee has just gotten back both Jones and Brown, their top two receivers. So that makes a huge difference with that team with Derrick Henry in the backfield. I'm not worried about how the Bills are going to do the rest of the season. I just take this as a bump in the road, and that's it. They're going to take the bye week, refocus, and get back at it, especially since they host Miami on Halloween. And we know how much the Bills like beating up on Miami, so I don't think the Bills are going to overlook anything. I think they're going to take the loss as what it is. They're going to take it as just a one-game setback, and they're going to go out there, and they're going to reestablish themselves. That's all I'm going to say for right now, because that's really all that needs to be said. It's a fluke, it's a bump in the road, and that's it. Next thing, if you're an FC Buffalo fan, you probably saw this coming. Hopefully. Kelsey Araujo has been called into the Portuguese under-23 women's national team. Former FC Buffalo attacker Kelsey Araujo this summer played with FC Buffalo's women's team in their first season competing in UWS. Was one of the main reasons they got to the Eastern Conference Finals with her 10-goal season, as well as 8 assists, and she got signed to Le Havre in France, where she is currently playing, and the best stats I have her at 4 goals in 6 games playing for them. And she got a call up to the Portuguese women's under-23 team. This is an impressive run. This is just an impressive run, seeing that she was playing at Niagara University, playing college soccer, just 5 months ago. Played with FC Buffalo women's team, led them to a regular season conference title, and led them to the conference championship game in the playoffs. Is playing professionally in France, and is now playing for a national team. That is a rise that's just fun to watch, and I'm glad to see, because she is really a good player. If you've watched any of the FC Buffalo games, you've heard us talk about how fast she is, how good she is, how good she is seeing the field, how she's able to just blow by defenders, how she's able to set up a play well. She's a full field player, so even though she's an attacker, you'll see her go back and take defensive responsibilities. So she's just an all-around player, and I'm glad to see that it's being rewarded on an international level. So that's been fun. It's been fun to follow. It's been fun to follow her 2021 since May, just because it looks like it's a whirlwind of moving up, doing great in soccer, moving up. And lastly, let's talk about the Buffalo Beauts. The Buffalo Beauts, after over a year because of the 2020 events, are going to be playing their first actual home hockey game in about 21 months, when they face the second-year Toronto Six at the Northtown Center on November 6th. I cannot wait, though this is going to be one of those things where ESPN Plus is going to be frustrating, but at least I'm close enough to be able to go to their home games. And the home games are inexpensive, so if you're in the Buffalo area, I really do recommend that you go to a Beauts game. It's a good time. It's a lot of fun. It's good hockey, so just go watch. Cheer them on. I mean, this is a great time of year for Buffalo sports fans. It really is. And the 2021 is looking like a really great year for Buffalo sports fans, just because of the success and the teams looking like they're all going going in the right direction. So it's a lot of fun. It's going to be fun to follow. It's going to be fun to talk about. So if you want me to keep talking about it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share with your friends. I'm going to keep updating this. I'm going to be putting to use that screen over there. Going to be putting more stuff on here, taking advantage of that crawl down there. So that's all I've got for you today. I will see you next time.